So I'm Tim Jackson, and my day job is I'm principal horn of the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra. But in addition to that, I have lots of other interests in music. For instance, I also teach horn at the Royal Northern College of Music in Manchester. I do other private teaching, but my real main interest outside the orchestra is in writing music, composing and arranging and transcribing. So my first experience of writing music was actually for the horn section of my youth orchestra. There was no real conscious thought process going on behind it, I have to say. But I loved the sound, and I loved being able to write music which other people enjoyed playing. And that's really been the biggest thing for me throughout all the writing that I've done, is because I'm a performer as well as a composer, I want to be able to approach things from a performer's point of view and to be able to write music which people are going to really find useful and which they're going to want to play repeatedly. And I've been very fortunate over the years that I've been writing to have some fantastic friends and fantastic colleagues to write pieces for. So when I start writing a song, specifically a song, I would normally always start by looking through somebody else's lyrics. I'm not very good at writing words myself, and there's no point me trying, so I would always be looking for a poem that's pre-existing, and I spend an awful lot of time reading books and books and books of poetry, making lists of poems that I might like to be able to set to music at a later stage. The first thing that I would do then is normally to sit down at the piano and to just play and improvise and experiment and frankly just mess about a little bit until something arrives that I quite like the sound of, that feels like it's going to be useful to illustrate the music. For me personally, the part of writing a song that I like the most is the harmony, the chord progressions. And very often for me the original idea for a piece will be sparked off by just a group of 2 or 3 chords that will work together, that feel like they're moving the music somewhere, and that I'm going to be able to write a melody that will sit on top of those chords. And I really enjoy that process of finding the chords that are going to work really well for a particular piece. When I first read Roger McGough's poem, The Sound Collector, I absolutely loved it, which is a really good start. When you're writing a song, it's obviously you want to enjoy the words that you're working with. The atmosphere of the poem was really, really fantastic. It spoke to me in a way that was kind of slightly sinister, slightly dark kind of feeling to the words, but also there's a kind of underlying current of humour. And I wanted to try to write some music that will capture both of those 2 aspects, slightly sinister but also with humour in it as well. Now in terms of what I did to try to create that kind of slightly sinister but also humorous thing, I started off, as I was saying before, in this particular case, I started off with a set of chords. And in this particular instance, there are only 4 chords in the piece. There's a G minor, followed by E flat minor, followed by C minor, and then a D7 chord. And it just goes round that set of chords. But to try to give the sinister kind of feeling, I wanted to do something that was going to have a rhythm that you aren't quite expecting to happen the way that it would feel natural, that you can automatically tap your feet along to. So what I made sure was that not all of those chords happen on the strong beats of the bar. So there are 4 beats in a bar in the piece that I've chosen. And the first chord starts on the first beat, but the second chord is between the second and third beats. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, and that second chord there just comes somewhere where you don't expect it quite as though it's going to be exactly in that place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that chord just jumping in the middle there makes things a little bit more unexpected, and it feels like it's just got that slightly sinister feel behind it. We've got control over all these different things, and it's worth experimenting all the time. As I was just saying earlier on, one of the changes that I've been making while I've been looking at this is actually something that, had I made the change at the time, I would probably have included in the piece. A lot of the others that I've made, I wouldn't. I prefer what I ended up with in the first place, which isn't to say that what I did was wrong, or what I would have done would have been any better. It's probably the single best thing about being a composer, is that actually you can never, ever be wrong.